Good morning, my dear students. Today we are going to see nutrition and health lesson. So in the previous class I taught you about the food and the classes of nutrients present in the food items. Out of all this, food is the basic necessity of life. It contains all the essential nutrients that provide energy, help in normal growth and development, repair the worn out tissues and protect the body from diseases. Food contamination with microorganisms is a major source of illness, either in a form of infection or poisoning. Food safety is becoming a major concern these days. So, in today's class, we will see about food hygiene and how to preserve the food. Food spoilage. Food spoilage is an undesirable change in the normal state of food and is not suitable for human consumption. The signs of food spoilage include changes in the appearance, color, texture, odor and taste. So what is food spoilage? Any change in the normal state of food is said to be food spoilage. How that could be found? It can be found with the changes which are happening with the food. There may be change in appearance, color, texture, odor means smell, or even there is a change in taste. If these changes are found in a food, it makes sure that food has already spoiled. So this spoiled food is very dangerous to human. So it brings many diseases to the human. The factors affecting the food spoilage. There are two factors, internal factor and external factor. Internal factor includes enzymatic activities. Enzymatic activities means a biological catalyst present in the food. And moisture content in the food. Moisture means water content in the food. So these enzymatic activities and moisture content in the food are coming in the internal factor. If there is moisture in a food, there is a possibility of microbes to grow faster. Then external factors is what? It include adulterants in the food, contaminated utensils and equipment, unhygienic cooking area and lack of storage facilities. These all comes under the external factors. What should be done? The food should be always stored in a hygienic condition. So poor personal hygiene may lead to a pathogenic microorganism to cause the food spoilage. So food has to be stored in a proper condition. The utensil where the food is stored up should be clean, and the area where the cooking is done should be clean. So unhygienic condition only leads to the food spoilage. Next, if a spoiled food is intaken, it leads to various diseases like diarrhea, vomiting, loss of appetite, mild fever, weakness, nausea and headache. So nausea means feeling like vomiting. Okay, loss of appetite means not feeling hunger. So these are all the possible diseases which may occur for a person who is not having a food in good condition. If the food is spoiled, it leads to these kind of diseases. The next, food preservation. So to preserve the food from the spoilage, it has to be protected. That is what we say it is food preservation. The food preservation is a process of prevention of food from decay and spoilage by storing in a condition fit for the future use. Food is preserved for what purpose? It is preserved to increase the shelf life of food. What is shelf life? The length of time the product may be stored. That is shelf life of food. So it can increase the shelf life of food, retain the color, texture, flavor and nutritive value, increase the food supply and decrease the wastage of food. For these purpose, the food has to be preserved. Prevention is necessary for the food, for store it for longer hours. Then, based on the perishability, the food is classified in the following ways: perishable, non-perishable and semi-perishable. Perishable. This include food such as dairy products. Dairy products are what? Milk products. Eggs, poultry, meat. Poultry is what? The product which we are getting from bird. That is egg from the hen, duck, etc. So the poultry, meat, fish, fruits and vegetables. These foods get spoiled very quickly. Non-perishable. This includes foods such as sugar, whole grain, nuts, etc. These food products do not get spoiled very quickly. It takes longer hours for not longer number of days or months to get spoiled. It can be stored up for long period of time. Semi-perishable means this include foods such as cereals and pulses. This can be stored only for few weeks or months, not more than that. Okay, so these are the three kinds of food based on the perishability. And next, coming to methods of food preservation. I told you already, food has to be preserved from spoilage. There are few methods for preserving the food. First, drying. Drying is what? Removing the moisture from the food. I told you, moisture is very responsible for increasing or producing more and more microbes in the food. This microbe only spoil the food mostly, isn't it? So moisture should be removed from the food. It can be done with the help of drying. So drying is a process of preservation of food by removal of water, moisture content from the food. It can be done either by sun drying or vacuum drying or hot air drying. Normally, sun drying can be done for cereals, fish, etc. Vacuum drying can be done for milk powder, cheese powder, etc. And hot air drying can be done for grapes, dry fruits, potato flakes, etc. So, this drying inhibits the growth of microorganisms such as bacteria, yeast and molds. Next, smoking. In this process, food products like meat and fish are exposed to smoke. The drying action of the smoke tends to preserve the food. Next, irradiation. Food irradiation is a process of exposing food to optimum levels of ionizing radiations like X-rays, gamma rays or UV rays to kill the harmful bacteria and even pests to preserve the freshness of the food. Next, cold storage. It is a process of storing the perishable foods such as vegetables, fruits and fruit products, milk and milk products, etc. at low temperature. Preserving the food products at low temperature slows down the biological and chemical reaction and preserve the food from spoilage. Next, freezing. Freezing is one of the widely used method of food preservation. This process involves storing the food below 0 degrees Celsius at which microorganisms cannot grow. Chemical reactions are reduced and metabolic reactions are also delayed. What is metabolic reaction? Reaction governing the breakdown of food into obtain energy is what we say it is metabolic reaction. Next, pasteurization. Pasteurization is a process of heat treatment of liquid food products. For example, the preservation of milk and beverages. This process also involves boiling of milk to a temperature of 63 degrees Celsius for about 30 minutes and suddenly cooling to destroy the microbes present in the milk. Next, canning. In this method of food preservation, most vegetables, fruits, meat and dairy products, fruit juices and some ready-to-eat foods are also processed in this method. In this method, the foods are stored in a cleaned, steamed airtight containers under pressure and then sealed. It is then subjected to high temperature and cooled to destroy all kind of microbes. So, we have seen the methods of food preservation. Under methods of food preservation, we have seen smoking, drying, irradiation, cold storage, freezing, pasteurization and finally canning. And next thing, food can also be preserved by adding natural and synthetic preservatives. There are two kinds of preservatives. Preservatives are what? They can prevent the food from spoilage. There are two kinds of preservative, natural preservative and artificial preservative. First, let's see about the natural preservative. Some naturally available materials like salt, sugar and oil are used as food preservatives. What are they? Salt, sugar and oil. Now, let's see what happens if salt is added. Addition of salt. It is one of the oldest method of preserving the food. This salt removes the moisture content from the food. This prevents the growth of bacteria and reduces the activity of microbial enzymes. Usually, meat, fish, gooseberry, lemon, raw mangoes are preserved by salting. Salt is also used as preservative in pickles, canned foods, etc. Next, addition of sugar. Not only sugar, honey also. Sugar and honey is added as a preservative to increase the shelf life of foods such as fruits and fruit products. So using the fruit products, jam, jellies, squash, etc. are made. So the hygroscopic nature of sugar and honey helps in reducing the water content of food and also minimize the process of oxidation in fruits. So the quality of food can be maintained for a long time by using the sugar or honey. Then addition of oil. Addition of oil in pickles prevents the contact of air with the food. This oil less denser in nature, so it floats over the food and never allow any microbe to act over the food. That's a specialty of oil. Hence, microorganisms cannot grow and spoil the food. These are all coming under the natural preservatives. What are they? Salt, sugar and oil are natural preservatives. Next, synthetic preservatives. The synthetic food preservatives like sodium benzoate, citric acid, vinegar, sodium metabisulfate and potassium bisulfate are added to food products like sauce, jam, jellies, packed foods and ready to eat foods. So these are all chemical substances added to the food to preserve it. What are they? Sodium benzoate, citric acid, vinegar, sodium metabisulfate and potassium bisulfate. These preservatives delay the microbial growth and keep the food safe for long duration. But even then, it's not good to have these kind of food items which are packed. So try to have always healthy food and lead a long life, children. Thank you.